The city of Paris is beginning to transform once again. The cafes are filling with conversations about draws, rivalries, predictions, and history. The red clay of French Open is being rolled and watered beneath grey Parisian skies. Ball kids are rehearsing movements with military precision. Coaches are hiding tactical notes behind dark sunglasses. Television crews are constructing entire studios around a tournament that has always demanded more from athletes than almost any other event in the sporting world. And somewhere inside this massive storm of expectation, pressure, and ambition, one name continues to rise louder and louder with every passing hour. Alexandra Eala. Not quietly, not gradually, but explosively. Because what is happening around Alexandra Eala right now no longer resembles the normal rise of a promising young player. This is no longer just about rankings, match results, statistics, or tournament scheduling. What is unfolding around the 20-year-old Filipina has become something far larger than tennis itself. It is emotional, it is cultural, it is generational. And as Roland Garros approaches, the global tennis world appears increasingly convinced that Eala may be standing at the edge of a career-defining breakthrough on the most unforgiving surface in professional sports. The fascinating part is that her ascent has not followed the traditional blueprint of a future superstar. Usually, the tennis machine moves carefully. Young talents are introduced slowly. Expectations are managed. Hype builds gradually over several years until the player eventually earns universal recognition through trophies and consistency. That is not what happened here. Eala's rise has felt more like a wildfire. One tournament suddenly became two. One upset victory became multiple statement wins. One emotional crowd reaction evolved into packed stadiums filled with Philippine flags and chants echoing across Europe. The momentum accelerated so quickly that even the sport itself seemed unprepared for the scale of it. And now, entering Paris, the atmosphere surrounding her feels almost impossible to separate from the tournament itself. Because everywhere you look, Alexandra Eala is part of the conversation. She is being discussed not merely as a young player with potential, but as a disruptive force capable of reshaping narratives inside women's tennis. Roland Garros highlighting her among the elite, must-watch rising stars of the event only intensified that reality. That recognition matters enormously because Grand Slam tournaments are extremely selective about who they choose to spotlight. They are not simply promoting talent. They are identifying personalities, stories, and players they believe can emotionally capture global audiences. And Eala checks every box imaginable. She possesses the fearless shot-making style modern fans love to watch. She has the left-handed patterns that create tactical nightmares for opponents. She carries the connection to Rafael Nadal and the legendary Rafa Nadal Academy. She represents a region historically underrepresented at the very highest level of tennis. And perhaps most importantly, she inspires emotional investment in a way very few young athletes can. When fans watch Eala compete, they do not simply feel entertained. They feel represented. That distinction changes everything. Across the Philippines and throughout Filipino communities worldwide, her matches have become emotional events. Nurses working night shifts pause to check scores between patients. Overseas workers gather around phones during breaks. Families stay awake at impossible hours to watch her matches live. In Rome, the atmosphere around her matches reportedly felt closer to football crowds than traditional tennis audiences. The chants of Laban Alex transformed quiet tennis stadiums into emotionally charged arenas vibrating with pride and identity. The tennis establishment noticed. How could it not? For years, professional tennis has searched desperately for the next generation of emotionally magnetic stars capable of attracting younger audiences and energizing international fan bases. Many players achieve success statistically, but only a small number create movements around themselves. Eala is beginning to look like one of those rare figures. And now comes the true test: clay. Clay courts expose players completely. They remove shortcuts. They punish impatience. They demand discipline with brutal honesty. At Roland Garros, talent alone means nothing if the body and mind cannot survive the endless physical and psychological warfare of the surface. That is why this moment feels so compelling. Because Eala's development appears almost perfectly designed for this challenge. At the Rafa Nadal Academy, players are raised inside a philosophy built around suffering, endurance, and emotional resilience. Nadal himself became legendary not merely because of his physical gifts, but because of his unmatched willingness to endure pain longer than opponents could tolerate it. That mentality is now visibly embedded inside Eala's game. You can see it in the way she competes through difficult rallies. You can see it in her refusal to emotionally collapse after losing momentum. You can see it in the way she constantly searches for improvement rather than excuses. And perhaps most importantly, you can see it in the way she embraces hard work publicly instead of hiding from it. Her recent clay season perfectly illustrates this evolution. In Rome, Eala produced some of the strongest performances of her young career. Victories against experienced players like Magdalena Frech and Wang Xinyu demonstrated her increasing comfort constructing points patiently on slower surfaces. Against Elena Rybakina, she showed flashes of top-level competitiveness capable of troubling even the most powerful hitters in the sport. But then came Strasbourg. And Strasbourg may ultimately become one of the most important losses of her career. Not because of the defeat itself, but because of what it revealed. Her loss to Alexandra Oliynykova exposed the razor-thin margins separating rising contenders from fully mature clay court competitors. Eala dominated stretches of the match brilliantly, but as momentum shifted, the physical and emotional demands of clay became overwhelming. Long rallies multiplied. Timing became harder. Unforced errors increased. Tactical patience wavered. These are the exact kinds of defeats that shape future champions. Clay teaches through punishment. Every dropped concentration level becomes visible immediately. Every rushed decision gets exposed. Every emotional fluctuation affects movement, balance, and timing. Young players either learn from those experiences or they disappear beneath them. Everything about Eala's mentality suggests she will learn from them. And that is why the anticipation surrounding Paris feels enormous. Because now she arrives at Roland Garros carrying both confidence and urgency. She has already shown she can compete with elite players. She has already demonstrated she belongs inside major tournaments. But Paris offers something different. The opportunity to prove that her rise is sustainable under the harshest possible conditions. The doubles storyline only intensifies the excitement further. Her partnership with Victoria Mboko feels almost symbolic of the WTA's new generation taking over the sport together. Mboko's explosive athleticism combined with Eala's tactical left-handed creativity creates one of the most fascinating young pairings in the tournament. They are former junior rivals now joining forces on one of tennis' biggest stages. That kind of storyline practically writes itself. And doubles may help Eala tremendously throughout the fortnight. Extra court time often improves rhythm, movement, and confidence on clay. The faster reflex exchanges sharpen instincts. The emotional energy of doubles competition can relieve pressure from singles expectations. Many great singles players historically used doubles as a way to settle into Grand Slam environments more comfortably. Yet no matter how exciting the doubles partnership becomes, the real spotlight remains fixed firmly on Eala's singles campaign. Because the draw itself could become explosive. Every seeded player will be watching nervously as the bracket unfolds, hoping to avoid dangerous floaters capable of causing early chaos. Eala fits that description perfectly. Her ranking already places her near the threshold where she becomes an extremely dangerous early-round opponent rather than a protected seed herself. And stylistically, she creates problems immediately. Left-handed players naturally disrupt rhythm. Their spin patterns arrive differently. Their serves target unusual angles. Their cross-court forehands open space most right-handed players rarely encounter. On clay, those advantages become even more pronounced because heavy topspin drags opponents wider and deeper into uncomfortable positions. If Eala begins finding confidence early in matches, she becomes extraordinarily difficult to control emotionally. That is when crowds become involved. That is when momentum shifts rapidly. That is when tournaments suddenly start feeling different. The psychological side of Paris cannot be overstated either. Roland Garros possesses a unique emotional intensity unlike any other Grand Slam. The atmosphere can become suffocating. Long matches stretch across cold evenings beneath heavy conditions. French crowds can transform from supportive to hostile within minutes. Momentum swings feel amplified because points themselves last longer. Young players often arrive believing they are prepared. Then Paris humbles them. But occasionally, a player enters the tournament carrying enough emotional momentum to thrive inside the chaos rather than fear it. Eala increasingly looks like that type of player. She appears energized by pressure rather than intimidated by it. She appears motivated by expectation rather than burdened by it. And perhaps most dangerously of all for her opponents, she appears genuinely convinced she belongs on these courts now. That belief changes everything at the professional level. Because once young players stop feeling grateful merely to participate, they begin competing to conquer. And that psychological transition is exactly what the tennis world may be witnessing with Alexandra Eala entering Roland Garros 2026. This is no longer the story of a talented junior searching for validation. This is the story of a rising force arriving at one of the sport's most historic stages, carrying the hopes of a nation, the pride of a region, the teachings of Rafael Nadal's academy, and the attention of a global audience desperate for its next transformative superstar. Paris is waiting. The clay is ready. The pressure is enormous. And Alexandra Eala is walking directly toward the center of it all with the eyes of the tennis world following every single step.